guys, it's a proud cat lover. So today I'm going to be making an update video with my baby crested geckos and of course the adults. So I figured I'd start out by showing you my older babies. That the ones in the glass tanks are ones I'm keeping, and then the ones down here in these totes are ones that are for sale but have been upgraded to totes. So here is of course the basic 12 by 12 by 18. I have construction paper taped to the side so that there isn't light passing through that's making their tanks illuminate. So here you can see Snickers chilling out on her wood bridge that I got her. That's a lot like the ones I have for my snake, only this one is not as wide. And I also just attached it to the top there instead of using a tie. So her tank is all decked out with plants right there, and then she of course has her water dish and a little hide that's just there because she likes to sit on top. Kind of, oh well, Mischief was on top of his, but he ran off. I don't know if he went in his cave or what. I'll have to look for him in a second. Anyway, this of course, like I said, is Snickers. She is my extreme tricolor. She has a little bit of floppy tail, which I'll kind of show you what that is. If you'll see how her tail, well, she's kind of holding onto my hand now, but it's pretty much when you can turn them upside down, their tail just flops down because the muscles there at the pelvic area are kind of weak because they don't use their tail a lot. And what's annoying is with all this, she still sometimes chooses to stay in places where there's not plants, because I tried to fill it. There's like 2 plants on each side, one on the door, and then that one going from the side to side and then the bridge. Okay. But yeah, so this is her. When she was weighed last, I'll put it on the screen and say what it was, because I can't remember. I know it was in the 20-gram range. But she obviously is getting pretty decent size. She's definitely a little chubby pig. She, of course, is one of the ones that likes crickets, so she does get them as a treat with her food. But you can see how her tail kind of arcs like that. That's one of the side effects, along with the fact that their tail just hangs. But see how there's kind of a dip, and I'll put an arrow there so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. But it's frustrating that it had to happen because not all babies get it. I think it's a genetic thing. I'm just moving her onto my hand again so I can see her. But, well, hold on. Okay, no, stop trying to climb up my arm. Just stay on my hand for a second, okay? She likes to get onto my shoulder. Anyway, I will show you now what I'm talking about. See how, when she's actually holding it up because she's trying. But, nah. Anyway, this is Snickers. She looks a lot like her aunt, and I think her aunt's name was Iconic. That was produced by Apollo's Geckos, which was a tricolor. I'm just going to switch hands so that she cannot go up my arm. She keeps wanting to go in that direction. But yeah, she is really pretty. I can't wait to see what she looks like as an adult, because the white is my favorite part about her. She just has so much of it. It's gorgeous. I'll set her back in here. There you go. But yeah, so that of course is her tank, and there's a thin layer of eco earth in there just because once they get old enough to, you know, her age, then you can use other stuff than paper towels. So with Mischief, he's got, you know, plants on each side. I have this that I'm planning on putting in here like this. Of course it'll be tucked in, but only thing you have to be careful with these when you alterate them, because this used to be 6 foot. So you see how I have hot glue right there? So let me show you what you have to be careful for when you have plants like this right here. Look at this. That metal is exposed somehow and is rusted. And of course this was in a tank that one of the babies used to use, and it hasn't been used for a while. So I hadn't thought to look. Well, I went to try to put some stuff in the tank, and I noticed that. And I was like, well, until I clean this and get that rust metal covered with hot glue, it's not going in this tank. So he didn't have a background for his tank, so I just took one of my posters that has my red cardinal on it and put it back there. Anyway, I think I see his tail, so he must be hiding back here. Yep, he is. Here he comes. He is in the high teens, low 20s gram range. He is my male extreme harlequin. As you can see his toe, he is holding on to the plant. Here we go. He's all pretty and fired up so you can see his beautiful oranges. He of course is my extreme harlequin with portholes, or at least that's what I call them anyway, the little circles, the white spots there. Gorgeous, gorgeous baby. I like his dashing on his back It actually goes really well with the coloring. If it would have been a solid pin, it actually kind of would have looked a little bit more boring, but I love how it goes with his spots, because see how he has drippy patterns, and I'll put a little arrow by what I mean. But yeah, that makes it cool looking, because as an adult, that's going to look really cool. He even has patterns down on his tail, which is cool, as you can see, because not all of my adults have orange going down onto the tail, so I think it'll be cool to see him as an adult, to see what he'll look like. But you can see again, has the nice little chubby belly. Coming up here to see me, huh? He also, of course, likes crickets. I'm going to swap hands now so you guys can see him a little bit better. But yeah, I also like how his crest is starting to develop, because when he was younger, I kind of wondered what it was going to look like. But him and Snickers have surprised me, because they both have really pretty crests. And of course, I will not be breeding any of my babies to each other, because obviously they're siblings. Even if they were half siblings, which that's not the case with Mischief and Snickers, they're full-blood siblings. There will definitely not be any crossbreeding in the future with me. I definitely like lineage, and I do not want to breed family members to each other, because that's just not healthy. So I'll go ahead and put him back in his tank. That is Mischief. He, of course, does not like to be handled as much. I feel like as the older he gets, he'll kind of get like Snickers and just kind of chill. So next is Bramble. And so, you know, this is a pretty decent sized container, as you can see, like the length of my arm. And of course, I think I had showed the measurements to you guys in the past, but here are the measurements of it. So you can see it's 17 inches long. It is 1 3/4 inches high, and it is 11 1/8 inches wide. So, pretty decent. I added more ventilation holes when I went to do cappuccinos. So you can see he's got 3 plants here. He's got 1 going across the top. And of course I couldn't suction cup any on this side unless I did it lower, because that failed door attempt that I did. We have his little water dish down there in the bottom. And let me see. Oh, he's hiding under his leaf right there. I didn't even see him. So this here is Bramble. He is the one with the most impressive crest. As you can see how lovely and floppy it is. I love floppy crests. Has a pretty decent amount of pin dashing. He's not like the most amazing, but I really like how he's developing cream like his father has. And just like Magma, I do think that the cream is going to overtake, he jumped onto my shirt, overtake the orange, and it's probably going to be mainly cream. So, but his back patterns are really cool too. He used to have an S right here, like a backwards S. But you can see it's kind of getting stretched out now and stuff. But yeah, he's my sweetie boy. He turned a year old on the 5th or 6th of April. I can never keep him and his siblings' birthdays in order, because they're only a day apart. But yeah. So, he's my sweetie boy. He used to be so scared and timid, but when I've been working with him, he has definitely gotten to where he's better, and he likes to jump on my shirt. But yeah, so that is Bramble. He still kind of has nervous tendencies sometimes, especially like when he's in his tank. He doesn't like you to pet him as much as when he's just out and about. Or are you actually going to come back up here? Here you go, I'll sit you there. Yes. He's my sweet boy. Like I say, whoever gets him will definitely be happy with him, just because, like, it takes a second to gain his trust. Like, I definitely think it's going to take a few months with whoever gets him. But once they do, I think he's going to be an awesome baby. Whether or not he's used for breeding or for pet, because with him, he looks more like he has good lineage, but, like, if anyone chose to breed him. But I could see him being just as happy being a pet, obviously. So, but that is Bramble in his little setup. And of course, he has a little cave down there as well, because even if they don't go inside it, I like to give them an option, because I don't really have anything right now I can hang, like a coconut or anything, for these tanks. But, get that slid on there. Okay, so this is Cappuccino's tank setup. It hasn't got a plant going through the center, but it does have an additional hanging plant. Oop, come here. There we go. This is one of Ember's babies. He's a very pretty tricolor. I love his like tomato, orange, brown, auburn colored patterns. And it also carries onto his back, which I think is pretty. And it's neat how his head stays that like blondish orange color while the rest of him's got that pretty cream. But yeah, he's one of my other sweeties. He's of course the runt that I had in the past. But he definitely is doing good. He's still not like ginormous or anything like chub, but he is a healthy weight and that is all that matters. So here is another look at him. He also has a pretty decent crest that he is developing. Some nice pin dashing. And he kind of has a little bit of drippy patterns on him, which is of course again patterns that come off the back onto the side. And when he's fired down, he has brindle markings on him like what Ember does, because it's interesting, all of her babies got that. So it's interesting that he has it. But yeah, you can see just off the bat how much more relaxed he is compared to the other two when it comes to being held. He's not like keen to just run or walk up my arm like he was like the other ones were doing. I mean, he just tried, but once I switched hands, he calmed down. He has a nice long tail like Ember, because of course this is one of her babies. So I'm curious to see if he'll end up being as big as her. Males are not commonly as large as females, body length and stuff wise, so we'll see how it goes. Oh, sorry, off camera again. But yeah, so this of course is Cappuccino. Whoop, let me switch fingers here, buddy. There we go. So I can flatten my hand out. Bring it a little bit closer so you can see his pretty colors. And of course he was born in June on the 22nd, I believe. So he's getting close to being a year old. And you can see how, like, kind of small he is, even though he's not, like, thin, because he does have a belly, as you can see. But just because he isn't really into crickets or anything, he just doesn't grow as quickly as the babies that are getting fed crickets as extra protein. You know, that little snack in there with the meal. Anyway, we'll go ahead and move on to the babies that are over there in the totes. Toffee is going to be getting moved pretty soon into one of these, so that's going to be exciting. Because that means we'll just have the two smaller babies, Indigo and Whisper, left before everybody's moved into a nice tank. Okay, so I'm going to go over to that side of my room for better lighting. But this is Harmony, and Harmony looks like she is actually a he, which I'm not surprised because the breeder said it could be a possible male. But this is her or his tank until I'm absolutely sure, of course. So let me turn the flash on so you guys can see a little better. Okay, so as you can see, we've got two plants back here. We have one half vine that's about at the back of the tank. We have this nice big leaf that goes up the entire width of the tank, so she can get on that and climb up there. We have a plant on this side, and then there's also one back there. We have a little feeding ledge, and then she has a hide in her water dish, and then of course this bamboo deal here, which I absolutely love those things. Highly recommend them. So that is her tank. Of course this is the tank that Ash was in before he got sold. So that is her tank, and it just goes like that. So now we'll move over and see the little baby. So this here is Harmony, and I'm just going to say he now because I'm pretty sure it's a boy. He is an extreme harlequin, as you can see, which means almost the entire body is covered in pattern, or a decent amount of it is. Let me grab him real quick. He, of course, is still getting tamed and everything, but you can see he definitely has a nice little belly on him now. I love the back patterns, how they have stripes, and how it's a very wide back. Because some of my babies, which you'll see, or might have already noticed, some of the babies do not have a very wide back. And you can see how this one is pretty decent with width. So, this is him. He has a couple dow spots on his face, if he would like to hold still, which I doubt, because this one here, he is always on the move. He hardly ever holds still. But that's a good thing, obviously, because it's a good sign that he's healthy if he's active. But yeah, I don't think that he's shed for me yet. Of course, you know, they can shed sometimes and not notice, but very pretty baby. Just very active. Anyway, we'll move on to the other babies. Okay guys, so this here is Indigo, one of the females of Ember that I'm keeping, the only baby from Ember that I'm keeping. And I'm just going to have to hold her with this hand because, as you guys just saw, she just immediately tried to walk up my arm. But she is pretty much 7 months old now, which is pretty cool. So she's getting pretty decent size. I like her crest, how it's developing. She's going to be the one that is going to be with Harmony because she is going to be an extreme Harlequin. Now she might turn out to be extreme tricolor, but we'll see. I thought she was in the beginning, but now all of her patterns are kind of turning cream. And you can see how her head is also now the same color as her back, which was not the case in the past. I will put a picture on the screen to show you what I mean. So her patterns have really started to go cream or really light orange instead of bright orange. So I'm kind of curious where she's going, you know, direction-wise. She has the really long tail, like Ember, one of the things her babies definitely get from her. I love her back patterns, they're very pretty. She has really pretty side patterns. Sadly, she's not fired up for you guys to really enjoy how dark she gets, which she definitely probably gets from her dad. But yeah, so this is Indigo. Aside from being the type that she wants to walk up my arm every 5 seconds, she's pretty laid back, as you can see. She's not very big compared to the others, but she was 11 grams last time I weighed her, so she's doing very good. I'm very happy about that. She occasionally eats a cricket or two, so not like she's a real big insect hunter or anything, but she does like the occasional cricket. So she's my little sweetheart. I hope she turns out to be just as sweet as her mom. Because Ember, she's the type that she's very laid back, very nice, very sweet. Of course, when she gets big enough, I'll show you the tank that she's going to be in. So, of course, this is an empty 12 by 12 by 18 that I have over here right now. It will be cleaned, and then she can use it. These containers themselves, this is what her and her brother are staying in. Of course, not the same ones. They each have their own. I don't keep any of my babies together once they come out of the egg, just because I don't want to deal with any tail nips or any fighting over food or space or anything like that. So let me get Whisper, who looks like he's fired up, so you guys will get to see kind of about how dark Indigo gets, because they both get the same darkness. Anyway, a really pretty, like, chocolate brown, I suppose you could say. So this here is Whisper, and you can see he looks like he's a tricolor. But here's the thing. I feel like that cream might take over the orange by the time he gets older. We'll see. Right now I've just put him as a blonde Harlequin because I'm not sure which way he's going to go. Because unlike Cappuccino, who you guys remember, who has the very similar lateral patterns, Cappuccino's has always stayed very prominent, very orange and pretty. While this one, like, he just seems like the cream. See how it's kind of creeping up the sides from the bottom? It kind of feels like that might take over the orange. So anyway, so this here is Whisper. We'll move on to Toffee next. Okay guys, so this here is Toffee. She is Snickers' sister, and she weighs quite a bit less than Snickers does. Mainly because she's not really into insects like Snickers is, so that's kind of, the extra protein for Snickers has really helped her. But you can see she's still very pretty tricolor. Her patterns are more interesting because the white is all towards the bottom, and then the orange is kind of just spotted on the sides of the body, which is cool. So I'm going to be curious what she looks like as an adult, and she has also the most pinstriping out of all the babies. Her and Snickers are the only ones that had a decent amount of pinstriping they developed. She also has a very pretty white tail. Well, not all white. Like on the top it's white. But her crest is the only thing that I'm just not real crazy about. The main reason I'm not keeping her for any projects. Yes, it's not terrible. It's not the worst crest in the world. It still looks very nice. But it ends before it gets to the eyeballs. And I personally just don't care for that type of crest. Some people might not mind it. She's kind of firing up a little bit for you now, because that brown of hers is getting darker. She looks so pretty when she's fully fired up, but right now she's only partially. She also has a reverse pinstripe, or what looks like a reverse pinstripe. But you mainly can see it either when she's fired down completely or she's fired up, because it's really dark either way. But when she's in between, then it's about the same color. But, yeah, she is very pretty. She is also the most jumpy of all the babies. I'm going to put her here and see if she'll... There she goes. She, of course, I think will be a very crazy baby like her mother, who is spying on us right now. Yes. This is your child. She's like, I'm leaving. She's offended. But yeah, so anyway, guys, I'm going to edit the baby part, and then I'm going to move on to the adults because I'm almost out of space on my phone. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the baby part of the video. After this, you get to see the adults. Okay, guys, so this here's Blaze. She will be the first adult that I show you. So she was my second crested gecko I ever got. And I purchased her from Pangea back in 2015, I believe. It was either 2015 or 16. I will put the date on the screen. Anyway, she has obviously been my most beautiful gecko when it comes to her coloration. Like, obviously I love all of my geckos. They all are very unique. They have traits or characteristics I love about each one of them. Blaze, though, she is very, not super jumpy, but she just doesn't like being handled as much. But what she makes up for her not liking to be handled as much with how pretty she is, and her babies definitely have really shown how pretty they are, and which they definitely get from her and from Magma's lineage as well. But yeah, so this here is Blaze. She's my little chubby girl. She is a tricolor. Some could even say extreme tri, but I think there's still a decent amount of brown that shows through her pattern, so it really depends on a person's point of view of what they think, of course, their opinion. But I'm just used to calling her a tricolor, so whether or not she's an extreme, I just am used to calling her a tricolor. So, but yeah. So when I weighed her last, I believe that she was 56 grams, which is pretty good for her, because that's normally what she always stays around, so that's always a good weight. She's very good with being handled. Of course, like I said, I've had her for quite a while. Not as long as Ember, of course, but she was my second gecko I ever got. I believe she was about a year or so when I purchased her. I purchased her as a male, and she turned out to be a girl. Anyway, guys, we'll move on to the next adult next. This here, again, one more time, is Blaze. Okay, guys, so this here is Phoenix, and she is trying to walk off right now. But Phoenix was my last and, of course, my newest adult that I've purchased. I have had her since, I believe, 2 years ago, or at least a year and a half ago. I'll have to look. I will, of course, put when I got her on the screen. But she has come a long way, because when I first got her, I don't think that the people that owned her had tamed her very well. She was very jumpy. I mean, she still jumps, but you can see she is pretty calm when being handled now. She just will sit in your hand. She looks very small because she does not have a tail, but I assure you she is a pretty decent weight. I weighed her today. Wait, no. I weighed her yesterday. Sorry, guys. I forgot. It was yesterday, and she is 41 grams, which is great because normally, last year she was always around either about 30 to 35, and she would fluctuate. So I'm happy to see her gaining weight and actually staying that basic general weight that she is now holding, luckily. So that's always great news. Of course, I don't know the exact age of her, but when I purchased her, the owner thought that she was at least a year old when she got her, so that kind of helped me guesstimate how old she was. So, but yeah, she of course is, like I said, the more jumpy one, even though she is very tame compared to when I got her. She is not bowl trained, so I do have to hand feed her like the other babies that I have, that I of course hand feed my babies. I, of course, will get my adults out, and I hold each one at a time, and I'll let them eat out of their bowl. And I'll just sit here and hold it, and they'll eat it, and then I'll put them in their tank. With her, I actually have to use the straw and put some on her nose, and then, or she'll lick it off the straw. She won't even eat it from the bowl. So, because I've tried several times to get her to eat from the dish, and she just won't. So, other than that, I like her. She is very pretty. She's just a basic Harlequin. But I liked her just because of her colors when I saw her. And when she's fired up, she's really pretty. Also, the owner that had her had to rehome her because they were moving. And the new apartment complex they were going to, they weren't allowed to have reptiles. So she had 3 crested geckos that she was selling. But yeah, so that's how I ended up with Phoenix. Like I said, of course, my last adult that I'll probably ever purchase, until I move out and have my own place, and I don't think I'm planning on purchasing any adults then. I probably will just be getting young geckos, that are, around like a year or so, which, yes, that still could be considered an adult, but you know what I mean. I'm talking about like full on, like 2+ years. So, But without her tail, she just looks so much smaller. I don't know why. Geckos with tails seem to always be bigger in weight. And of course she is just a smaller framed gecko because she doesn't look like she weighs 41 grams. But she does. She's a little chunky girl. But yeah, so anyway, that is Phoenix. We'll move on to the next adult gecko. Okay guys, so this is Magma. He is my third reptile that I ever purchased. Because there was first Ember, then Blaze, then Magma, and then Phoenix. Of course, Ember is going to be coming up next. So Magma is my only male crested gecko. He is a retired breeder. I got on Facebook and was able to do some digging on his lineage and stuff. Like, I already knew who his parents were and who his breeders were, like who produced him, but I wanted to know more information. And I ended up, of course, finding two of his sisters, which I, have put in past videos, so I'm not going to put them in this one. And I also found out that I am his 7th owner. I could not believe. He was born in 2014, and it obviously is now 2019, so he's going to be 5 years old this year. And I just couldn't believe that in that time period that he's had 7 owners. It was just bizarre to me. I couldn't believe it. So, of course, he is going to be staying with me forever. I'm not planning on ever selling him. He looks a little thin right now just because he lost 3 grams from last month. He's currently in his, mating season right now, so he's looking for lady friends, and he is so active at night, it's crazy, and even during the day, because I see him moving around in there, in his tank, and he has really been burning the calories in the food, apparently, because normally, if he does fluctuate in weight, with his normal feeding schedule and everything, because he still gets fed normal stuff that he always does, he normally only will, fluctuate by 1 gram, maybe 2 at the most. But the fact that he just straight off dropped 3 grams in a month is just crazy. So I definitely think once he goes in, back to his regular self when he's not looking for ladies anymore, that he probably is just going to gain that right back. Because he normally stays about 60 to 62 grams is normal for him. And he's at 57 right now. And he was 60 last month. So, but yeah. He's still my little sweet boy. You see how his crest is so floppy. I just love it. So yeah, anyway guys, this is Magma. Next we'll be moving on to Ember, who of course is my oldest gecko that I have. She was the first one that I ever purchased. And of course she has been with me since she was 4 months old. So yeah, she's my little baby for sure. Okay guys, so this here is Ember. She is my oldest crested gecko. She was also born in 2014. But, I've obviously had her the longest, even though she is the same age as Magma and Blaze. So, well, just by a few months difference, of course. But, oh, my goodness. We just gotta talk. Probably because there has been storms going on, so all the geckos are getting ready to be put back into their tanks. They're all in their little totes and everything. The snakes are in these ones over here, as you can see, a shear sticking out over there. So that's why everybody's in totes. Well, she heard Magma making his squeaky noises. And so now she is making her noises right here, as you can see. So yeah, she thinks I'm a boy gecko, so I'm just not going to pet her head while I'm holding her. Ember is currently on a diet. I do want her to lose a little bit of her weight because she is at 73 grams and she needs to be more around 68 to 70. So if Magma can easily lose 3 grams by looking for ladies, I'm hoping that she can start to lose some weight because I've started giving her a little less food. She still gets fed the same every 3 days, but she's just getting a little bit less food every time because she's just a little chubby. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't think touching your side. She is offended. But, yeah, you can see just how chub she is, which obviously I don't really like when I have overweight geckos, but it's not like I can really make her, go for a walk or something. So, but, yeah. So she's on a diet. She's my little lady, of course. She was the mother of 4 of the crested geckos that I have, the babies. And then, of course, Blaze is the mother to all the other ones, which I think were 8 babies. Yeah, so Blaze had 8 babies altogether, and Ember had 4. So, of course, that equals 12. But, yeah, so Ember is a harlequin, and I forgot to mention Magma was a blonde harlequin. So Ember is just kind of like run of the litter, but, one one thing that I guess I just have always just been used to seeing her this way, but apparently the like olive colored green color that she turns when she's fired down sometimes is like really desirable to people, I guess, because when I went to the reptile show, everyone was coming over, you know, to look at the tables, and when they saw her, they thought that it was really unique that she had like that green color to her. I'm just, of course, so used to seeing it, I didn't think anything of it, but it's not like it's a dominant trait in her, because when she fires up, she's like a chocolate brown color. So, and it's not like she fires down the greenish color all the time. As you can see, she's a tan brown color right now, but occasionally she fires up that green, well, I mean, she fires down that greenish color, so it's interesting. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video of all the crested geckos. Oh my goodness, it's going to be such a long video, but if you stayed tuned to the very end, thank you for watching the whole thing. I hope you enjoyed it. Hopefully it wasn't too boring for you. So anyway, this is Ember. Like I said, my oldest crested gecko, who I've had since she was 4 months old. So anyway, thank you for watching, guys, and have a good rest of your day.